Brad Pryor here with Grit Branded. We are at the NCHA Snafflebit in our podcast trailer, and I'm here talking with Miss Hope. Hope, what's your last name?
Mills.
Mills?
Yep.
Where are you from?
I'm from Oklahoma. Burneyville, Oklahoma.
Burneyville, Oklahoma. Went over that. It just don't sound right when I say it, but I got you. So, what are you doing here?
We're showing. We're going with it. Hopefully. Yeah. We're doing some cow horse, and we're just having fun. So.
Yeah. So have you already showed yet?
Yep. So we've gone through all the preliminaries. So we've shown down the fence. We've gone out, done the reining, done the herd work. Now we're going into the finals now, and we just start with a clean slate, and we do it all over again. Okay. That all starts tomorrow.
So today's the back. Is the where they hand out the where you are in the set, or what's that today?
Oh, draw party?
Draw party, yes, right.
I think it's just a party. I don't really know. They already did our draw, so we're not drawing.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
So they already did. So it's just a party, I guess.
So you really know what you're already at?
Yeah, we already know where we're at in our sets, and it's not a surprise or anything. Usually, they'll have you draw out of a bucket or something like that. I'm terrible at that. I always get, last in the set if I do that. So they did it for us already. So I think it's just, I don't know what we're going into, but I think it's just a party.
Yeah. I've been to 2 of them. There's pretty much a party.
Yeah.
So, and just showing where people are at and their back numbers and all that. So, tell me your life story. Where'd all this start?
Oh man. It all started, I have dyslexia, and my parents needed some sort of a way to get me to learn left and right better. And so my dad had thoroughbreds, and I wanted to be a jockey. I was really small when I was little. I was tiny. And so my parents were like, no, you can't be a jockey. We're going to go completely 180 and have you ride pleasure horses. And so I went ahead, and they put me in lessons with this lady that was local to us, and did that for a couple years and learned how to ride a lot better than just like a jockey. And it did teach me a lot of how to use my brain properly in the right ways instead of just being jumbled or get frustrated with not knowing my left and right. And so still to this day, if I get really panicked and I'm really stressed out, you'll see me look down at my hands, and it's just to reassure me I'm gonna go the right way, because I do the whole left hand thing. But if you're really nervous, both your hands look left. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I have the same thing, and ADHD. We were talking about that before we started, and it's just a different world, and it's very hard to explain. It sounds as simple as when you say it, but when you come into those moments you're talking about, it's like taking a steering wheel off a freaking vehicle, and you're just pushing the gas, and you don't even think about hitting the brake. You just keep pushing, and it just gets into the chaos of all that.
Yeah.
And trying to, I think the biggest thing to learn is to slow down long enough and try to figure out what's really happening where you can react better.
Yeah, catch your brain up.
Yes. And, a lot of that stuff, brain just runs a million miles an hour, and trying to figure all that stuff out just gives you that anxiety of what train wreck you're fixing to have, with whatever.
Yeah. The back gate guys, it's kind of a joke now, because my brain just goes too fast all the time. And so they'll always ask me, oh, what was on out in the arena? Because I would just be like, oh, hey, there's a chapstick. I looked by this. I'll just randomly see things. Or when I showed out of the herd the other day, there was a cow that had a really gross ear, and that's what I acknowledge that. And everyone's like, why are you looking at the cow that you're not even cutting? Why are you looking at its ear? I'm like, dude, there's so many things I'm looking at other than that cow that I'm supposed to be cutting. I'm looking at everything. My brain can't slow down enough just to look at one cow.
Right. You find something to hone in on and concentrate on that.
Yeah, I try to calm it down, but sometimes it doesn't work.
Doesn't work. So you're from Washington originally?
Washington State, yep, originally.
Okay. Mom and Dad still up there?
No, they relocated with us when we had our daughter, and so to help me out with her, because we live out kind of outskirts, so there's not much around us for help, and so they moved out there, thankfully, to help me with her.
Yeah, I think that's a lot of things people don't realize about rural America living, especially when your parents or your family doesn't live right there by you. It's not as easy for somebody just to hey, will you go pick up Junior from school, or hey, Junior's sick at school and you're in the middle of your commitments.
Yeah.
It's a real struggle for people that live out in the middle of nowhere.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you don't realize it until you have it.
Right.
We lived out there before we had her, and it wasn't a big deal to, you can't just go run to town real quick and grab a burger. You're like, I gotta cook all the time, which is a little bit annoying.
Right.
Where I grew up, you throw a rock and you're hitting something to eat.
Yeah.
And so that was a big difference for me was like the grocery stores were, 45 to an hour, minute, away. And so that changed. And then when I noticed that, like when I needed help with her, I was like, oh, yeah, that's also an hour away. So I'm driving 2 hours to hopefully get 45 minutes to get what I needed done. And then you're driving to get, and you're like, it's not worth it.
Right.
I'll just take her with me.
Yep. And that's basically how my kids are raised. They went everywhere with me that they could. My ex-wife, Tom, was a nurse, so she had to work shift work, so she couldn't get off till most get off at 7, got off most of the time at 10. So they went everywhere with me when they were young, it was pain back in the day, but it went real well, raising them up, because they saw just about everything, in the world, working with me and stuff. So married?
Yes.
Do you have a name?
Dustin Mills.
And what's your baby girl's name?
Sage Mills.
What are some of your accolades that, as you've been showing, or your accomplishments that you've won? I
don't know, like all my accomplishments are different in their own ways. What I find of them as accomplishments. The year I won the fraternity in 2018, I got a husband after that. That's what happens when you drink a little too much at the after party. You meet a cowboy that lives in Texas. He lived in Oklahoma, from Texas. I was in Washington, and then you moved to Oklahoma because of it. So, every horse show you might come home with like souvenir. A boyfriend, then come husband.
And by the way, she's not crazy. Her husband's sitting over in the corner. She's really pointing at him. All right. So what happened at the NCHA World Show?
So it was kind of an interesting story how that all started. I had no desire to want to do the cow horse. I was doing reining. I was sticking with it. I really liked it. My dad, the horse trainer I had at the time, he also did cow horse with the reining. And so my dad saw it and he was like, that looks amazing. And he bought a boxing horse for himself. And then he got into a snowmobile accident and couldn't ride his horse. And I was like, well, we have this perfectly good horse sitting in our barn. I might as well use it. So I tried giving the boxing a try, and it was like, it clicked to me. Like, it just automatically, like the reining I kind of struggled in, never really did anything in it. And like the first time I showed in the boxing, I was like, oh, that makes sense. And so then I just kind of showed that horse all year, qualified for the youth world, and then showed him there, and I won it. And I was like, okay, this is definitely, I need to maybe give up on the reining since that hasn't worked so far and give this an actual shot. And I haven't looked back since. So then I just have been kind of tinkering with it since.
Heck yeah. So just something I was thinking about as you was talking. So being with dyslexia, how does it work? As I never thought about this. I've never been in reining. How does that mess with you as far as like your patterns and stuff?
So it did a lot, and you just have to learn how to do it or say it to yourself properly that makes sense to you. My dad, being dyslexic, small writing for me at least is really hard to read, so he had the patterns printed out on really large poster boards, and we would take them everywhere, and then my trainer would have me walk the pattern so that I had it in my brain and like memorized really good by the time I went out there. If I did get nervous, it was like ingrained in me. And then when I showed back in the pleasure stuff, because those patterns have a lot of different directions and stuff like that, I wore 2 different colored gloves, so then I could remember which way was left and right. I would wear a black glove and a brown glove, so then I knew that left was brown and black was right. And so, but no, you just got to get it in your brain. Now I've been doing it so long that I've gotten to myself comfortable enough to not needing to ingrain it into myself. And thankfully the cow horse patterns aren't as much as like the reining patterns are, where it's like left and right. It is more of turn towards the judge or turn away from the judge, and you lope in, so you're already on your circle, so you don't really have to think about going left or right. You just kind of flow with the pattern instead of like having to really focus on which direction to go.
You feel like most everything when you accomplish is out of memorizing stuff?
Yeah, I feel like my whole brain, that is just everything I do. Same with reading. For me, at least, it's all memory. So if I see a new big word, I'm like, skip, nope, try that again later.
Yeah, it's funny you brought up the poster board with drawing the patterns on there. So anytime anybody prints something for me at the office, it's on a big piece of paper for me to read.
Yeah.
I read better that way when it's big and it's not like this.
Yeah.
Struggle. Like,
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
know what it is. Automatically, I get frustrated when I see it. But if it's, especially spreadsheets and stuff,
Oh yeah.
they get a little bit numbers like that and you're having to weed all, like, game over for me. It ain't happening.
Yeah.
So, but I use a lot of that in school, memorization and stuff to just get through more than anything. Oh, it's interesting hearing you say that. So what is your favorite event or discipline? Sorry.
Oh, my favorite. I don't know. It's different. Before I had my daughter, it was fence work all the way. I loved the fence work. Now that I've had her, I'm more reserved. You just have a little bit more. Back when I was younger, it was like, I'm just gonna go get this cow. I'm gonna go win, kind of a mentality. Like, I'm gonna do whatever I have to do. Who cares if I cripple myself in the way? Or, there's a lot that possibilities that can happen when you go down the fence. But now having her, I'm like, maybe I don't want to go over there as much. And I'm a little bit more reserved for the fence work. Maybe have, that it's still fun, but is it my favorite? I really am starting to enjoy the herd work a lot more. There's more methodicalness behind it. You can finesse it a little bit more. My background is with the reining. I find the reining it can be a little boring at times.
Mm-hmm.
Probably gonna get some slack for that, but it's
you're
just those circles are just. We had a 3-pattern circle here. We'd never have that many circles. That's a lot of circles just to be loping around in that big arena, just like do. You're just like, my brain thinks too fast. That's too much time to be thinking. I can get myself in trouble doing that many circles.
Mm-hmm. When I was just talking to the boys before you about reining, I really never really cared to watch it. I just never really been around and exposed to it very much. But going to the Run for the Million and seeing it in high production and then the people doing it, a whole different world.
Yeah.
Watching that. But, there's a lot of freaking good talent there in horsemen too. So.
Well, and I think that too, they put it in such a good way that it's only a little bit. So you're not sitting there all day long.
Right.
You're just like, here's the, 10?
Yeah.
15 really nice horses today. Take and watch this versus like those poor judges I think they had like 4 days of rain work. I'd be like pulling my eyes out after that.
For sure. So what are your hobbies in life?
I have taken up chicken farming.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so I breed silkies, the chicken. Yeah. So that's I'm just gonna leave it at that.
So you built the big old cool chicken coop?
Yeah, I built it out of a container. My husband likes to argue with me that it's big enough to hold a rhino or anything. I needed it to be able to withstand our weather. In my brain, I was just like, we have tornadoes. I need to make sure my chickens are safe. I maybe went a little larger scale than I needed to, but my girls are safe. I don't have to worry about them.
Oh my goodness. So this is a hobby or a business?
A hobby.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they hadn't made any money yet?
They can. The chicken market is a very interesting market.
Explain.
People sell
Dying to hear it.
chickens for like $3,000 for like one chicken.
For a chicken?
Yes, and those are finicky chickens. Like, they can lay down and die very easily. Like, they do. And could you imagine? That was the most expensive chicken tender you'd ever have.
I bought chickens at a junior, like a livestock sale, but not, for that kind of money, but not just to say a pet.
Yeah, right? These people do it. But their thoughts of it are just like the horse industry, or even like cows. They're buying these really nice hens and roosters to breed them, so that they get nicer stock, so that they can sell them for the equally as much of money. It's a very interesting world. When I first got into it, it was just because I had to step back from the horses a little bit more right after I had my daughter, and I wanted something that would still make me feel like I was getting outside, I was doing something. I really enjoy breeding horses, and that's only a couple months out of the year, so I wanted something that I could still, you can hatch chicks all year long, and so I wanted something that I could do, and I somehow stumbled upon that, and there is a ginormous community that shows chickens, and it's just kind of the same kind of as concept as like the horses, like breeding wise. Like, you'd be surprised what all you can do with a chicken breeding program. So
what do you look for in a hen?
There's a whole there's like a whole body type. There's like it's very finicky. It's
this is a podcast. We need to be informational.
I'm
teaching me something I
I'm
don't
still
know.
learning a little. I've only been doing it for a year now, about a year and a half, and so like you want their body type to be a different way for like a show chicken, for like a show silky. So like it's kind of hard because they're just so fluffy. It's kind of hard to describe to you, but like you want their head to sit a different way, and you want their tail feathers, and they have to have particular toes and no color holes, and their beaks have to be a different way, and their eye colors have to be a different color, and their shape, and they have to have the list goes on and on of what your chicken has to be able to show.
And are you showing them?
No, not yet. All their shows are during our like this time of year, so I took my horses priority. They take priority over the chicken.
If you had to explain a chicken show, what would be the attire you'd wear?
So chickens you just put in a kennel, and then you get like roped off from the area, and the judges just do it all. You don't do anything. You just have it
no
clean.
showmanship stuff?
Nope.
Okay.
They have them clean in a kennel, and the judge just walks up there, does their whole thing, and walks away. So you don't have to be like dressed up or anything.
Okay.
It's an older class of people.
I was thinking overalls.
No, they're like more like I don't know how to word it properly. It's an interesting
Casual
group.
dress.
Yeah.
To their age.
Yeah, it's not a younger. It's not very. Yeah, no, you don't see too many 20-year-olds out there with their chickens.
I can imagine, but it's a very interesting story. So I'm scared to even ask, but I'm gonna ask. Can you tell me what you look for in a rooster?
So roosters are just like a stud. That's what you want. So you want like if your hens, just like if you had a broodmare, if your hens are a certain way and you need to clean up that part of it, then that's what you look for. Like their wing type, their cushion, so their back feathers, their rumps, their heads, their combs, their feet. You look at their whole type, and then that's kind of how you clean up your hens with your rooster, because you can always get a new rooster. You kind of keep your girls.
Right. Same way, kind of horse. I got you.
Yep.
Same concept. Well, I never thought that would be a conversation we'd have today, but I'm glad we did. I learned a lot. So, what defines your grit? Or what defines grit to you?
Oh, I don't know what defines my grit. I honestly think being dyslexic has defined my grit to be, because you have to learn how to get through all those, your brain, more or less. You know, you have to be able to think out of the box to just even write a text message, you know, as silly as that sounds, but you don't think about it. The normal person doesn't have to think about sending a text, but for us, it's like you have to, it's a whole process. And so I think that has made me who I am to this day, because you have to be a little bit more methodical. You have to think about it. You're fighting yourself constantly. And so just being able to get through that and become an actual human, a functioning human is, you know. And when I was little, it wasn't as easy as it is now. You know, they're like, oh, you're dyslexic, here, we have a couple courses for you. It helps you out. And, you know, they put me in special ed. They put me with they were rough. It was rough to be in there. You know, they had anger management. There was kids in wheelchairs, you know. So it was, you were not being, I was segregated because I had dyslexia. But it wasn't like I was needed to be there as much. You know, they were all my friends. I was good with it. I had no problems with it back then. But now looking back, it's like, I don't get why they needed to do that. And I think that gave me that, like, I will be normal. I will be, you know, I want to make it so people like this can go out and be a normal functioning human. And that was kind of what gave me that, like, no, I don't need to limit myself just because I have it. Right. I'm not going to change it. I'm stuck with it. Thanks, Dad. And so
you didn't let it define you.
No. And then I think that's kind of what gave me that grit as being a little human that was told that you are this type of a person. And I was like, no, I'm going to be this. I'm going to go be social. I'm going to go be, you know, I may not be able to write you a paper, but I'll talk to you just fine.
It's funny when you brought up the text. You can, when I send a text, people have to read between the lines what I'm really saying, especially if I send it fast. Because it's most time misspelled, and most time it's you don't even know what English I'm speaking because I'm skipping words. I think I said a word, but I didn't. I just write it out like I said. I'll skip, and the worst ones is don't, or do or don't or something like that, saying don't do this or do that. I'll leave the most, so it'll say do this.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's totally.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, yeah. So no, it's nice to meet people that deal with the same struggles I do on the daily, and it's good for us to talk about it. You know what I mean? Because we're both thriving in the worlds we live in, and we didn't let it define us. And I like to see that, because I feel like there's some kids out there that may watch this and say, "Wow, I can do that. I'm not gonna let that define me." So, and I'm not bashful about it. I tell people all the time. You know what I mean? I make fun of my own self.
I think that's when you finally get to that point where like I do have it. I'm not embarrassed of it. Like I have check writing anxiety. That is like a real thing for me. Like when I go up to pay someone and I finally have gotten to the point where I'm like, hey, I'm dyslexic. This won't be written how you want it. The bank won't accept it, so you're better off writing it for me. And it took me years to be okay with that. As silly as that sounds, but it just took me.
No, it's a thing.
Get married. Check writer. That's the whole reason I got married. He can write all my checks now.
That's awesome. So, you show again?
Yep.
When is that?
We show tomorrow out of the herd, and then we'll show down, do the rain work and the fence work on Saturday.
Feel good about it?
I'm happy we made the finals, and it's kind of like, it is what it is at this point. That's kind of, unfortunately, my motto. I try not to stress about it, and then if you stress about it too much, then it takes the fun out of it, and that's why we're all here, is to have fun. And
100%.
So, just go, do what we can, and then it's already made out, it's already planned, we just have to go with it.
If you had to tell a teenager, or yourself as a teenager, to do something different or give them advice to do stuff, what would that be?
Try harder. Just keep trying. I don't think you can keep trying hard enough. Don't give up just because it got hard. You can always go, I think that's now you see this generation is just, they're easily to give up. And it's just like, no, you just got to keep going. You got to put in the work, got to put in the hours. No one just got here because they poofed here. We all are here because we worked hard. And, if someone worked hard for you too. I think, that's a lot of it is, I think for us non-pros, like our trainers do a lot for us to get here too. I'm not saying I train this horse completely, I'm here. Dustin started him, and it's just like, everyone tries hard to get here. And so that's where I think people have lost that reality of how hard it is to get somewhere. Yeah. And they just want it to be easy, and when it's not easy, they just want to give up.
I think if somebody wants to work now, the opportunities are there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that don't want the opportunity.
No.
So it makes it easier for somebody who just wants to work and wants a chance. There's people like me that give it to you all day long just because they're not out there no more.
And that is the crazy part.
And it is, because I had to work for everything. I had to fight my way through everything and fight myself, along the way.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like, it makes it even worse. It's just, and I watch these people that have all the opportunities in the world, and they just walk past them and don't even utilize them. I'm like, what are you doing? I soak up every resource I can, and then I re-support it. I don't just take it, I re-support it. And I think that's a big thing to do in our industry, because we want it to thrive. And one thing I'm very proud of, watching these trainers through the cutting horse industry and reining cow horse and all that, is they are working with their non-pros to make them better. They're building their programs, not just off working for a customer in the open and stuff like that. They're actually working with their non-pros to make them successful.
Yeah.
And I think that just gravitates the whole industry when you have that. It didn't used to be that way. Non-pros, trained old school trainers, a lot of them didn't want to mess with it. And it's just, they would, but assistant trainer would mess with them, not the trainer. That kind of stuff. And I see where these trainers are reinvesting in their program, and they are working with non-pros. They're not just relying on the customer for an open.
Yeah.
So, do you agree with that?
Yeah, I think so. I think, there's some people that still would like to go back to that old school, not having to deal with non-pro, thought process. But, the hard part is we're also here as owners too, majority of us. So, you kind of got to give one way or the other. You got to have the non-pro to have the open horse sometimes. And so, I think some guys don't care to have. I know we're a pain in the butt. I know, so it's I'm grateful for them that do take us, but I understand that, we do take away their time from, their families, their own horses that they're riding on. And so I think as long as people are grateful that they're giving them that opportunity too, I think the other thing is people just want to think of horse trainers like a product. They just want to be like, I gave you money. I need you to do all this for me. Well, they're still a human,
Right.
They still have a life other than to train your horse. And I think a lot of people grasp at that, and I think that's why trainers get burned out of them. And, they don't want to be used like a product. They're a human.
You still want to be a human.
Yeah, they still want a life, out of the barn.
Have you heard about the assistant trainer award we're giving?
I did. I saw it on Facebook the other day. I think that's amazing.
I like that. I really feel, I feel like that it helps so much, recognizing people like that. Because in this industry and even in construction, there's a lot of people that do a lot of behind the scenes things. And we work when we have our Christmas party, give our awards out and stuff. We try to do the same thing, or we don't try. We do the same thing, is recognize that underdog or that up and comer or somebody that's been in struggles. I think that helps boost them to that next level.
Yeah, it motivates them. Like
Yes.
It gives them that other oh look, I could get this at a little prize.
And it's crazy. We had over 100 something applications to it, and there's a lot of them that are multiple. But it was cool reading their stories because a lot of them duplicated from people that nominated them. So, but I thought it was pretty neat reading all that and getting to learn about some of these kiddos and some of the assistant trainers, all different ages. So of them. So, but I hope it was good sitting down and talking to you. I wish you best of luck.
Thank you.
We'll talk to you soon, and if you need anything, holler.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Each and every Tuesday, catch a new episode of Grit Branded as we dive into stories from all walks of life in the hopes of you discovering what your grit is.